Hello everybody and welcome to the stream. Okay, got followers already. That's awesome. Thanks for the sub. Thanks for the follow. In this video will be about JavaScript code review, source code review. So I'm just going to put some music on really quickly. Let's just put some music on. Make sure that's a little bit lower. Make sure that's just tiny bit. Can everyone hear that music or not really? Maybe we don't put any music on just for the sakes of it because might not be able to listen to what I'm saying. So anyway, I'm getting tons of followers already. Thanks guys for the follows. And how come I can't see anyone viewing this chat for some reason? Are you guys viewing or what's the go with that? It's not saying how many people are viewing, but anyway, any viewers, can you just type in the comments if you're viewing this video? Any viewers? Because I want to get started soon. I'm just going to quickly change my, I think I can actually do this in, no, we'll do that next stream. Any viewers at all? Any viewers? Address chat. I might just quickly tweet that I'm going online. So share on maybe just phone's going off. Any viewers at all? I'm going to get started on JavaScript security soon. Awesome. We got one follower. We got one person already viewing. Awesome. Any more others? We're going to get started on this JavaScript security using Chrome DevTools, the most underrated tool of them all. Any other viewers? Come on, let's get the followings and views going. All right. Anyway, we'll get started in it anyway. We've got one viewer. That's good enough. How you going? Bybeck, I don't know how to say that, sorry. Anyway, what we're going to do is I've got my second screen there and I'm going to just simply talk about what JavaScript is and what HTML is and stuff like that. We're just going to go to a simple target like maybe mail.ru, right? We're going to mail.ru. Mail.ru is on HackerOne and it's a very, very big domain, very big scope. So one of the most underrated hacker tools is Chrome DevTools. And many people don't use it. Many people just use automation tools such as Link Finder and things like that. Tools that just grab all the source code for you. Or they might use Burp. So they might use Burp and they might spider through the whole website and might go to engagement tools, export out JavaScript, and open up Notepad++. But the thing is, it's very bad to read that because you cannot really prettify it. You can't really see what's going on. And you can go through it all and find API keys and stuff like that. But what I like to do is first off explain what is HTML. Now, for you guys that don't know much about HTML websites and stuff like that, HTML is hypertext markup language, which is just basically the way websites are laid out. The context of the website is laid out, the layouts, the divs tags and all that sort of stuff. Then you've got Cascade styling sheets, which is CSS, which is the way the web looks. If it looks like, colors that are, might have some nice funky images with colors and background, things like that, gradients. But then we have this thing called JavaScript. It's a type of scripting language, and that's where a lot of the vulnerabilities are found. JavaScript is what makes the web do things, what makes the web jump around, dance around, but also what we have in JavaScript is vulnerabilities. So what I'm going to show you is a very basic website. I think it's just trying to think, fire range. Google has this fire range where you can practice your vulnerabilities right here. What we're going to do is we're going to first explain how to use DevTools, what are the pros and cons about it, and how we're going to find some DOM XSS. Because the thing is, we can find DOM XSS, we can find XHR part traversal. Now XHR is XML Http Request. And for what we're going to do is just jump in straight into a simple example, and then we're going to go from there. Are you the only one in this video chat, or is there more? Just wait, let's have a look if there's any more also going in there as well. We've got one viewer. I'm just going to quickly invite more, then we'll go back into it in a little bit. All friends. Do you mind if you want to spread the word? You can go for it, man. You can also get lots of people inviting to this chat, because we're going to go for about half an hour to an hour learning all about security and JavaScript, and I'll show you automation tools as well. Only one viewer. It's a bit strange because I've shared it everywhere. What I might do is I might just share this. Awesome, George Ravi. Nice, thanks, dude. Might just share this chat quickly, this stream just for quickly. Bear with me, I'll get back into the stream in a minute. Alright, so what I'm going to just quickly do is I'm just going to quickly share some of it, because I know I've got a lot of people that already are interested in this stream. So let's just grab this stream, and let's just copy this on my main page. Going live. Oops. Sorry about this. Oh, 3 viewers, finally. We got more people. I'm just going to quickly share this on... I might just start from scratch, because those extra 2 viewers probably didn't get to see what I was talking about. I'm just sharing this this on the page just quickly. I'm just sharing this on my main page, just so I've got friends that are going to watch it too. My phone is going off. I don't know who the hell that would be. It's probably my friend. I'm streaming too bad. How many viewers now? Only 1. Come on, dudes. Come on. We're going to talk about JavaScript security. Anyway, I'll just share this quickly, and then we'll go back to it. But yeah, JavaScript is awesome. And we're going to talk about like API keys, how we could find those, how we could find, XHR, what XHR is as well, which is pretty cool. XHR is a really cool concept. He's interested. Awesome. Share this. Just want to share this. How do I do it? If I go to here, XHR, what XHR is as well, which is pretty cool. XHR is a really cool concept. Okay, cool. That worked. Awesome. Going live. Finally. Going live. Alright, cool. Alright, let's see how many people view now. I'll get back to it anyway. Because there's only the same viewer, so we'll get back to it. You can always start again. Now you can always go back and watch it. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to do this DOM XSX example. And we're going to do one that's called post message. And we'll do the post message eval, okay? And we'll do an eval post message. Thanks, Michael James McKay. Awesome. Sorry if that was you calling, but I'm doing the stream just really quickly. Gonna go for about half an hour, man. So here you go. This is just an empty page. We don't know what's going on. We just imagine this as a real life bug bounty program. So another way, we can open up Chrome DevTools, right? And this is the most underrated hacker tool. It's a really good tool. So we can either right click and go to inspect element, or we can go up here and go to more tools, developer tools, or we can just press Control-Shift-I. Now Firefox also has this as well, but it's a little bit laid out a little bit differently, right? So what we want to do is we want to explain what each of these are. So this is the HTML code. This is the current HTML code of the page. It's kind of the same as going view page source right here, which has all the code and stuff there. And then we've got Then we've got this this console, and this is where we do all the testing stuff. This is where we'll be doing our testing and exploiting it. But we'll figure out how to do a proof of concept in a minute when we exploit this. Then we've got the sources, which is all the JavaScript source code, the CSS, things like that. The thing we're interested in is network. So with network, we can do things like we can simply just go reload the page. I'll just put this back into under there, right there. Reload the page, and what will happen is we'll find out all these JavaScript files and reload the page. Obviously, you haven't got any JavaScript here, but if you went to something like Yahoo, the main page of Yahoo, what we can do is we can Control-Shift-I, and all the JavaScript will be loaded there. Let me load it. I've just given it all this. That's my regular expression I use to find some stuff. So as you can see here in the network tab, it's finding all these JavaScript files. Now this is just doing it with one simple load of the page. I want to hide those. I just want to hide that as well. Yeah. So this is all the JavaScript on this current Yahoo page. So if we just say want to click on one of these JavaScript files, say we'll click on any of these. We can click on that, the initiator. That's what initiated the script. And this just can, as you can see here in the network tab, if we just go to something like this, as you can see, this is really hard to read. This is like super hard to read. I'm just going to escape this and click on the initiator. As you can see, we want to prettify it. So click on that then. Just click on that. Let's reload the page. So what we want to do is, yeah, that's much better. There's more scripts now. We'll click on this one here. How about that? But as you can see, this is really hard to read. Thanks, Jackie Revit. Awesome. As you can see, all this code here is all minified, so we can't really see what's going on. So what we want to do is we want to click on the pretty print button. Magic as that. So as you can see, it's all like, instead of being on one line of JavaScript, you can read the whole lot. Now, that's one thing. That's one thing we can quickly observe and look for syncs and on like sources and stuff like that. But we can also what we can do is we can also search. We can also search in all these JavaScript files. So in Burp, what you'd usually do is you would export out the JavaScript, and then you would search through it manually through that. But the thing is, it's really hard to actually use Burp to prettify all these source codes that it finds, because you're going to have to get a plugin called JS or Beautify, which is really hard. It's a really tedious process. That's one of the pros with Chrome DevTools. You don't have to just go through each file and prettify it. You can just do it all once. With also with JavaScript, you can't really search for much stuff in the JavaScript. It's really hard with Burp to do that. So what we can do is we can press Control-Shift-F, and that will bring up the search tab. And then we can look for things like API key. That's a dog, sorry about that. We can then search for API key. And with this, it's going to search for, it hasn't found nothing, but it will search through all these current JavaScript files for any sort of reference to API key. That's very interesting. Instead of like going through all the code in that Burp and then this is really good. Also, what we can find is we can do like a eval. We can type in eval on all the JavaScript files. And as you can see here, obviously it hasn't matched it properly. But one thing, and even a guy of mine, my friend that I found XSS, Dome XSS on a website, I'm not going to tell you what he did and what website it was, but he used jQuery to find the Dome XSS. So if you were to look at the Yahoo and say they had jQuery, they're not really using jQuery on the main page, you can type in jQuery like this and look for a sync called HTML. Now, usually you can look for that and you can find Dome XSS and jQuery HTML. But another thing I'm going to show you is Dome XSS Wiki, which is really good. We'll get to the exploitation in a minute. Dome XSS Wiki shows you a lot of regular expressions that we can use to find Dome XSS vulnerabilities. So these are the regular expressions you can find. This is a really good page here to look at. And you can type that into Dev Console, and it will find things like, find the keywords like jQuery, global eval, and also this keyword here that's very useful to find Dome XSS, which is HTML. Then it tells you like bits about like what is a source and what is a sync, things like that, how to read tables, syncs, direct execution syncs, which are pretty cool. So these functions here are potentially dangerous functions, or they are dangerous functions in JavaScript. So if you have eval and then some sort of JS code and then an uncontrolled value, you can inject, if this isn't being sanitized, you can inject a JavaScript payload in here and it will execute JavaScript on the client side. Very useful to look at. Now, another thing is there's a thing called XHR. Now, XHR stands for Xml Http Request. Now, it's also AJAX. It's a fancy word for AJAX. And this is what makes the web JavaScript fetch things from remote servers and things like that. So this is where we can find path traversal vulnerabilities, Dome XSS. We look for XHR requests. That's what we're looking for. JavaScript is usually API keys, sensitive information, things like that. XHR we want to click on. And all the XHR requests are all here. There's fetch, which is like, fetch remote files. And we can click on one of these files, like we can go on this one here, with a local location service. And we'll just click on that. And we want to prettify it. And we want to look in here on the global listeners. And there'll be a thing called message. Now, this is where our post messages will be made. So if we click on, say, this one here, and we prettify it, this is really messy to find. This is really messy to look at. But say we want to, say, make a breakpoint right here. All right, make a breakpoint right here somewhere. Or we could go another one and make a breakpoint somewhere else. Now, what we want to do is we want to make this function, make a post request. So we want to go to console and go post message. We'll just type in any value. What value should we type in here? We'll just go, what do you reckon, foobar. And what this is saying is it's going to post a message with the data to the destination which you want to use, all domains. If we do that, it's going to now stop at that breakpoint. It's going to stop that breakpoint and put the console in full control. It's going to just stop there and we can debug it. So obviously see here, data is what we're interested in. Data is what we've got control of. And it's put foobar there. And the origin is au.yahoo.com. Now what we can do is we can just step through each one with this button over here, and it will tell us each value that it's going. This is a good way to debug JavaScript code. Okay, so with that we can then analyze it, and if you just continue, obviously there's going to be no alert box because we haven't put a payload in there, and plus it's probably not vulnerable. So that's another useful thing to actually look at. And then we've got all these other ones which we don't really look at really much. It's just mainly the ones we look at is network, sources, console, and elements. Now let's have a look at an example of a vulnerability. Now we're going to go to elements, and as you can see here, we'll actually go to view source. It might be a little bit easier. So as you can see here, we've got this post message handler. So it's like a callback, and it's passing in the message that we type in. And the data here, the content is being set to message data. This is the one we've got full control of. Actually, you can't really see this because of my window being there, my chat. So as you can see here, we've got data here, which we've got full control of right there. Then it's doing an eval. It's evaluating the content. Okay, this is a sync that we had to look at, and this is very vulnerable. And then it's doing if message object is active, then it's going to write post message arrived. But what we want to do is we want to get to this point where we can execute our JavaScript code. So let's actually get out of that. And obviously it's doing a post message. So we go to network, XHR. Obviously there's not going to be any XHR requests yet. But we just do a simple post message. Actually, we'll set a breakpoint right here, just so you can see what's going on as well. We'll do a post message, and we'll just do an alert document.domain. Now, what I do, the reason why I use alert and then document.domain is because it gives the triage team or whoever a rough idea where the access is coming from. So if you just do alert 1, that's very bad because we don't really, alert 1 just gives us nothing. It's shit, don't do that. And usually with DOM XSS, we want to escalate it and we want to prove impact. And I'll show you that in a minute. So we run that. It's got to stop right there. And as you can see here, alert document.domain is in the content and it's in a sync. So if we flip forward, it's going to pop up an alert box. It's evaluating the content. Evaluation is a very bad sync in JavaScript function. So obviously if you find a sync and it gets injected in there, it's bad. We'll get a vulnerability. We'll get an alert pop up. But as you can see here, we just got DOM XSS on Google. But it's nothing. This is like DOM XSS on Google, but it's made by design. So you can't report this. Sometimes DOM XSS has no impact at all. Okay? So what we want to do to make this have impact is we want to use a program called Replit. Now, Replit is a program that we can use to come up with proof of concept. And we still can't report this on Google because it's just a practice. We can't do it because it's practice. Now what we want to do is Replit is good for proof of concept making tool. So we go to up here. Actually, we go to new Replit. We can choose things like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for our proof of concept. And what we want to do is want to use this one and want to just name, and this is good. We just name it like something like that. And we'll create a Replit. Okay. Now we want to make it. We want to make sure we can. This is what we're doing now. Is we're going to create an iframe. and we're going to make it so if we give this iframe to some other victim, it's going to execute JavaScript. Now, whatever, if this is a big banking website, if this is a big website of some sort, whatever they can do, we can do too. Because we want to do what's called bypass the same origin policy. Once we can do that, we can then pretty much do whatever the user can do. That's one thing that we want to do to actually cause these big DOM XSSs to prove impact. Now, with if you get DOM XSS and that's it, you don't want to just say still cookies, because now there's HTTP only flags on cookies. So that protects cookies from being theft and hijacked. So what we want to do is we want to go here and we want to do an iframe, and we'll just do ID equals target, and then we'll close this and we'll do we'll close the iframe here. Now what we want to do is in JavaScript, we're going to create our proof of concept now. We want to get this target object, or this target whatever it is, and we want to get that in the JavaScript. So we want to go to get that. We want to go target, declare a variable var target, and we want to equal that to document.getElementsById, and then we just want to select target. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to grab the target and we want to add an event listener. Then what we want to do is we want to make it so when the page loads, it will do something. So I think it's like this. And then in here we want to go target, and we want to post message. And this is when we want to, when the page loads, we want to post a message. And this is when we want to do our alert document.domain on any host that we want. And then we want to target, and we want to set the source of the page that we're actually exploiting, which is this one right here. And once we do that, if this it all sweet, we can then run it, and hopefully we get XSS if it works. Let's go load. Load again. Sometimes it takes more than once to do it. Okay. Target dot. I think it's window content. No, content window. Now we can do it. Boom. Target content window post message. Do you know why? I haven't set that. I haven't put the access payload properly. There you go. Now what happens is we get access. Now this is good, because what happens now is we can go to we can view this in a new tab, and we can give this as a proof of concept. We can give this file here as a proof of concept right here and say, hey, we just got DOM XSS. Here's the URL. How you fix it? Blah blah whatever. It's very good. Obviously now what's going to happen is when this page loads, it's going to get exit. It's going to pop up an XSS box. It's not working really properly that well, but let's have a look at again. It's loading. Have I got internet? Yes, I do. But yeah, that should work. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do a DOM XSS attack using Chrome DevTools. Now, some automation tools we can find is there's one program called XSS Hunter, which is a blind XSS tool. So with this, we can then go to a website, say like, we just sign up to this, and we grab our payloads, and say we want to do a Google Doc search on any website, say that's vulnerable to XSS or something like that. So say we do index.php !id equals. Obviously, you're going to get a lot of SQL injection vulnerabilities, but we don't want to hack these because we can get in trouble. We just want to, wherever there's a SQL injection vulnerability, there's going to be potentially XSS. Let's try and do this. None there, but yeah, this is a really good program for blind XSS, because sometimes sometimes with XSS, you can't get an alert pop up. You can't get an alert box pop up, but with blind XSS, we can then put in the payload, and with this, it will say XSS files, collected pages, and it will show you the URL that it's being injected into and things like that. Let's go to a port Swigger example. This will give us a perfect. This will help us. Actually. I'll show you what it actually does. So if I go to Academy and I just log in, this is actually free, so we don't have to actually pay for it at all. No viewers? Come on, dudes. Where are your viewers? Where's the views? Views, anyone? Anyone viewing? Alright, anyway. What we're gonna do, we've got no viewers, but this will be online anyway. So we're gonna pretty much go to Academy. And then we'll go to cross-site scripting. Now we want to look for blind cross-site scripting. So let's look for blind, and that can be done up here. We can find it up here. So we want to go XSS and we want to choose blind. Then what we want to do is we want to find out that it's blind. Should be blind somewhere. We could also, what we could actually do instead is we could actually show you a little bit about XSS on DOM XSS on this website here, because this is a really good hard challenge. This is a really hard challenge in here too. Sometimes they have some really hard ones. Let's have a look at this one here. Location search inside select element, and there's a DOM XSS in document write, and it wants us to pop it in the box. So here you go. Lab contains the DOM-based cross-site script vulnerability in the stock checker functionality. It uses the JavaScript document write function, which writes data out of the page. The document write function is called with data from location search. Let's access this lab. So what we want to do is we want to find out where this sync is and how we're going to exploit it, and we're going to come up with a proof of concept. So that's in the check stock, I think it was, check stock. But what we want to do is want to use Chrome DevTools again, because Chrome DevTools is the best. And we're just going to first of all look for any XHR. Probably none here, but let's go into sources and let's look up at the source page. So as you can see here, automatically we can see that there's a document write in the store ID. Then if the store, so it's actually getting the store ID, which is location search, get store ID, and that's doing a document write, and it's a pending store, so that's very bad. So it's option selected. So there's going to be an option we got to select. So let's just actually find out what we're going to do. So it must be in here. So I'm going to select check stock here. It's in there, location search. So there should be a search somewhere here. It's got a home. There should be a window search. Should be a search functionality somewhere. And let's just set a breakpoint, because then we can actually see what's going on. So let's set a breakpoint under right under where it says, okay, it is in the check. It is in there actually. So let's set a breakpoint right here. Okay. So we're going to then go Paris. Nothing stopped. Let's go to, and actually got so it's London, Paris, Milan. So Lorino location search, I get store ID. So let's go to here and let's check that box there. There's a hidden, so actually with the product ID, there's a value 1. So if we just go AAA, it didn't work. It's invalid product ID. Okay, so now it worked. Okay, cool. Now what's happened is it's grabbed the store ID and we've actually gone back. So when we went back, that's when it did it. Let's go step through this document write, and now it didn't write the store ID because we didn't have the right one. So the store ID was not true, so I didn't go here. So what we need to do is we need to get the store ID. Okay, cool. We've got this. So if we go, if we check back, no, that didn't work. Let's go back again. Okay, so it's when we enter the page. When we enter the page, that's when it does it. Let's just have a look at to see if there's any global listeners. There's document content load, and that's actually all it does. It's just a document on content load, and that's it. Okay, cool. We're getting somewhere. Let's load this page again. So it's every time you load the page, that's what happens. So it gets the stores. So we want to actually modify one of these. We want to modify one of these values here. So when we can modify that value, then it's going to write the store ID to that. Okay, cool. Let's actually see if we can actually capture this request. We might have to use burp for this. Let's open up burp, because sometimes you do need to use burp. So let's open up burp and let's actually see if we can actually exploit this.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Shut up. So what we're going to do is we're going to use burp, and we're going to load up burp, and this might actually help us find a vulnerability. I just remembered it's don't make sense, so we can't really do that. We need to modify one of these values. URL search parameters. Let's actually look at stores. Stores is London and Paris. So let's go. Let's modify one of these. So we actually need to modify one of these. So we actually need to look at the network. Check stock. We just need to modify one of these. So I think with that we need to actually okay, let's have a look to see what it's set as. Let's go to here. So if we just go through it, and let's go and change. Let's have a look what store is actually at now. So store is null. Let's change store to equal to script alert document dot domain. And let's, oh, okay, I didn't like that because I haven't got that. So do that. Let's follow through. Let's go through all of it. There we go. Awesome, we did it. See, we found XSS just by modifying that value, and then it should say labs not complete but we modified the value. So don't access and document write sync using inside the select element. We did modify the value. That was good. We actually did that, but we haven't actually let's reload the page. We haven't actually done what we need to do. Check stock. If I go check stock, 9 units, check stock. Any viewers at all? Any viewers? Any viewers? What we're doing right now is we're going to find Dome XSS on this web security challenge. So at the moment, what it's doing is it's got the stores that we need to modify. So we need to find a way to modify the stores. And once we can find a way to modify this, and we should be all sweet. And as you can see here, what about if we just put an XSS payload in here? This might work. This might work like this. Because it seems to be getting it from the ID. That's a bad request. Doesn't like that. What about if we what it's actually doing is it's actually grabbing the missing ID. If I do 2, what's that going to come up with? 2 is going to come up with umbrella. Oh, that's the product ID. Okay, so we need to modify one of these. That makes sense now. So don't XSS in document write sync using source location search inside a select element. So there should be like a hidden field here because there's actually a hidden field where we can search. Product ID is hidden. Let's get rid of that hidden object here. Ah, okay, this is interesting. Let's try and put a payload in here. Let's just put 1 just for the sake of it. Didn't like that. Let's try and the post request. Store ID. Where's this option here? Check stock, store ID. Can we actually like modify this? Can we modify this somehow? Edit value, script, alert 1, script. Oh, is that Mick?
Yes, Blake. He's been here since 11 o'clock.
Oh, you can come in if you want. So you can come in and just sit down.
What, in
That's-
the bedroom?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm nearly done. I'm just doing this challenge and I'll get off. It's all good.
Well, I thought you were streaming.
I am streaming, but he can sit down if he wants. It doesn't matter.
You know, like, wait.
I'll get off in a minute. I'm just going to do this challenge. All right, fellas. I might have to get off in a minute. I've got a mate around. But we'll continue this stream. I'll just show you a little bit more about... Come here, mate. Just go. We're going to talk about... We've done the proof of concept. We used a little bit about... we used the public firing range on Google. So what we're going to just quickly do is one more of this so we can get used to our DOM access. We're going to use maybe the in HTML one, which would be pretty cool. Let's go to inspect. Let's go to sources, and let's go to the page of the source. Let's actually look at console elements. Let's go to the source code here. So as you can see here, there's a bad value A in window name, and then it sets the payload equal to window name. And this is actually in the post message still. So what we want to do is we want to set the payload equal to what we want. So let's go to post message. Again, we can just go to just try this one out first. Didn't work, so sorry, let's just try and see. This is post message still. Window name. Okay, we want post message. Let's want to focus on post message for now. Post message. HTML, there you go, cool. Let's load this. Okay, here we go. So we've got message data and it's in JSON this time. So if we do the same thing, it won't work. Because in this time it's in a JSON format. So we need to find out a way to do this in JSON. So we can try this. Didn't work. Let's try input. Didn't work. So we need it to be in JSON format. So now what we can do is we can type in JSON XSS payloads. And this will come up some payloads with JSON. Comes down to research. Let's find out one here. There should be one here which we can easily do. That's one that won't work. Because you can see here it's not in JSON. So we need to do something like this. Let's try this one. That didn't work. Let's try out. So we need to put this here, and then we'll try and do it. And that should hopefully work. And we'll go. Just wait. Let's go here. And go. Alert. Document. .domain. Something like that too. It doesn't like that. So JSON, let's just do a little, let's just debug this so we can actually see what's going on in the code. So let's do a post message, just do that one. So as you can see, the data is set to that, is trusted, and then it fails because it's not in JSON. So let's look at JSON pass payloads. Pass XSS payloads. Come on, viewers, where are you? See, that's a... Just looking for a payload that we can use. Pretty sure we can use... type in JSON pass XSS, that will help us. Here you go, this is what we want. So, we need a href, we need a tag, and we can use this one here. or we can use this one here, I guess, data. Okay, we can use JavaScript. We can use that one now. Okay, let's try that. We can try using this one here. All right, so that worked. It's going okay. Didn't like, but let's try instead. Let's try this one. This should hopefully work. JSON position adder. So uncaught syntax error, unexpected token in JSON position 1. Let's try data. Doesn't like that either. Let's try a different payload. JSON pass XSS. This is the introduction to cross-site scripting. Just don't XSS read JavaScript. So we need to find out an XSS payload, a JSON pass, and we're just looking for an XSS payload. So let's try this one out. And as you can see here, it's still setting the HTML to content.html. So we just need to get this this JSON parse XSS. So we need to put an XSS payload in there. So we can just put maybe JSON. Let's try just alert one. Let's just try alert instead of let's try alert and see what happens. That should work hopefully. That didn't work either. So if you just go to here, line 6, it's saying uncaught JSON parse. Let's have a look at this message here and see what happens. And what we can do now is we can find out what's going on. Must not like the... what we can do is we can go payloads of all things. That might help. Okay, let's try payloads of all things, and let's go to XSS. XSS injection. And we want one that's JSON. Here we go. So let's try not JSON-P. And that's the other thing we can actually look at is JSON-P is another way to actually bypass content security policies. Let's try this one here. Yeah, this is a good. This is actually a friend of mine's. So he gets the same thing. Content security policy only requires self, so then he can use a callback. This is a really interesting post. He uses callback to actually bypass the content security policy, and then he uses a simple iframe to actually execute it, which is pretty cool. Let's try. Alright, so let's go back to it. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? JSON pass. Let's try a simple. Let's try. Let's type in 1 for now. Let's see what happens when we type in 1. Okay, that one worked. That one worked. That actually worked. But it doesn't. We want it to actually. It must not like the alert. So let's type in prompt. Let's type in prompt and see what happens. And let's see if that works. So that didn't work. So it doesn't like prompt. Let's go to 1. Let's go boom and alert. See if that works. That didn't work either. So we need to break out of the tag. Message data. Let's have a look at message. Let's see what message has got in here. Message is let's have a look. Just wait. Let's load this page again. Let's go to here. It's a very tricky challenge, but we're going to get there because what we need to do is we need to find a payload that will fit in here. If you have any ideas of what we can actually do to actually get this payload to execute, please comment in the description in the comment section. We just need to find out what payload could fit in here in JSON parse. So if we're going to find a JSON parse payload, we should be fine. We should be all sweet. Parse XSS payload. Once we find this, we should be all sweet. Parse JSON, and it is an HTML a div in a HTML content. Okay, let's just try basic script tags. Let's try like a and see if that works. So if we go here, it doesn't like that. Let's brute force now. Let's try just a greater than. It might not like the greater than signs, the symbols. Doesn't like that. Okay, let's try just a quote. So let's try, see if that works. It doesn't like that. Okay, let's try these ones. Doesn't like that either. So it doesn't like these, but let's try. It likes a 1. It can take a 1 on. JSON parse. Let's have a look at the JSON parse documentation. Parse exit. Let's try this. Yeah, let's try this one. Here's a different one. So it likes it's what we're after. This is what we're after here. So if we go something like a new line, so in most will point out a small group of characters. Backslash. Let's try 2 backslashes. That might work. Like this one here. That should hopefully go. Doesn't. Okay. Let's try a backspace. Let's try that one there because we need to break out of it. So let's try that. And let's try that. So let's try that. That's just a quote. Doesn't like that either. Jesus Christ. What is it going to like? It doesn't like any of these. Okay, let's have a look at some basic JSON parse XSS in HackerOne. But here we go. Let's have a look at this. So this one here is a JSON parse one. JSON parse. Here we go. Just looking for the XSS payload. Gonna take forever on this one. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Exploiting JSON parse, eval, JSON. Let's try all these ones, Alrighty, cool. So it says we've got this. It's doing an eval. It's not one we've got because we've got post message in HTML. Post web messages and JSON parse. Let's have the solution on this one. It needs an iframe, so you need an iframe to do it. Okay, we need an iframe to do it. So let's actually just have a look at this one. Alright, let's just open up an iframe. Let's go to Replit, and let's try and see if we can do it in that. It obviously needs an iframe to do this, because in HTML, I guess, needs an iframe. So let's grab this endpoint here, and let's an iframe, and let's put that here, and let's just load that and see what happens. Document is not defined. Document is not defined. Document get ID, iframe, target. Did I do the right one? Let's have a look. New palette. That one. That one. Whoo, this is really tricky. It's getting my brain buzzing. That's good. But see, DOM XSS can be actually quite tricky at times. But, you know, it's all about practicing. Get Tom to do this. He'll do it in seconds, I reckon. Whoops. he would be like, boop, 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 done. Equals document dot get element by ID. Target. Let's see if we actually get this. Let's see if it actually works. Let's see if that works. It gets a yeah, awesome. We want to target dot add event listener load. We want to go boom 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 target dot window content window. We want to post message alert one boom target source equals that. Let's see how that works. Nope. Let's try this one here. No, it doesn't like that. Okay, that's a bummer. It needs post message though, but it does not like the okay, it does not like that at all, which is strange because it should like that. In HTML JSON pass, let's try this one, and data is one. Message. We can't just change this. Type message. This window likes that. For some reason, it likes the value 1. But what we're going to do is we're going to go here, and then we're going to change the. We're going to then go to we're then change the content. See what the content is, which is 1, and let's try and change this to alert 1 document dot domain. So what we're going to be doing in a proof of concept is we're going to be changing each value as it comes. So let's try and again let's put a 1 post message, and then let's go forward, and then we want to go content equals, and then we go script alert 1 script. And if we do that, it's going to forward it off and do nothing. Shit. I don't think that's a post message. That's the message we want to execute. But we need a div in HTML content HTML. Can't do a post message on this one because that won't work either. That's not going to work either. Oh, did it? Nah, it didn't work. What else in the what other ones are there? JSON pass. You really need to look at JSON pass XSS. We really need something like that, really. But it won't work for some reason. Don't know why, but it won't work. Oh, wait a minute. Nah, it didn't work. Fuck. Let's just try and... It doesn't like these characters. Let's just try and do this and just see if it works. See if it likes those characters. Doesn't like those characters either. Oh my gosh. Let's try out this. Nope. JSON pass. Let's have a look at what it's saying. Okay, we do really need to look at JSON pass XSS. That's the wrong thing we're actually doing. Pass XSS. It seems to say that it needs a source involved, so it needs like what about if we go source equals X. See if that works. No, I didn't like that either. Okay, the viewer, who are you? We need help here. We need to I need to find out any JSON pass, JSON XSS. Who's the viewer right now? Can you please comment? Doing a Dome XSS challenge, and we're trying to find out. I'll show you what happens here if we do a source X. It doesn't like it. But if you do, let's just actually go to the div tag here. It's creating a div tag, and we want to get to inner HTML because that's the function, that's the source we want to get to, and it's passing the content. So we need to get past the JSON pass. So let's have a look at JSON pass, and let's just have a look at yeah, this is what we want. We want to go to the W. We want to do this. The JSON pass requires these following values. So if we do this and see if that works. This actually might work. If this works, then we can try and see what we can go from there. So let's try out putting these values in because these are valid JSON values. So let's go here and hopefully that works. It doesn't work. So obviously the message data is let's have a look. This is what it should look like. And we could also do a same origin policy too. When we get it all working, we'll do a bypass of some sort. Same origin policy bypass. But what we need right here is to close it too. So let's just put this whole thing in there and see if that works. Let's put this whole thing in here. See if that works. And hopefully that works. Awesome, it worked. Awesome. So all that works. So now what we need to do is we need to make it valid. So we need to close, we're going to go here. And we'll go something like message, and then we'll go here. I think it was message double columns, and then alert document dot domain. Close that, and then try and see if that works. Works, and it didn't pop XSS. But that's fine because we're getting somewhere though. That's the main thing. We're getting somewhere. That's the main thing we want. So let's just try and instead of doing, let's just do this. Let's just do that and see if that works. That didn't work. So we need a name. So this is what we need to do. We need to go name. We need a name. So we need a maybe message. Maybe data is the thing we want. And see if that works. Doesn't like that. Because we need to actually have. Oh, my bad. Try this. Okay, it goes there. Document. The data is that. That's good. We're getting somewhere now. We just need to do a proper XSS payload now. So let's go script, alert, and then we'll end the script tag like that. See if that works. Hopefully it works. Doesn't like getting XSS for some reason. It's going there. It's going there though. That's good. That's the main thing. We get in there, and then we go here. It's going there. It's going there. But then we need to make this HTML because this is actually using HTML at the moment. So if we go here, the content of in HTML. Where is it in HTML? It's actually not the right content. But now let's go to inner HTML and see what we need here. Inner HTML. Because we look at the documentation of that. And let's see what this provides. So this requires things like value. Yeah, okay, things like that. So we're getting close. We're actually getting really, really close. We just need to find out a proper XSS payload to go into here. So it's creating a div tag on document.createDiv. Let's just try it again. And data is that. Then it goes to data. Yep. Then in HTML we need the content. Where's the content? So the content is this. But then it's actually appending the value to the div. Okay, cool. We just need to find out payloads now. So let's try out payloads like this. Let's try alert 1. That's going to work. That's going to work, but it doesn't execute. Let's try this one. Just alert 1 maybe. That doesn't work either. That's very strange. Oh, okay. I mean, if we see here all these values are defined, it's actually right into the page. Okay, let's just view out. Let's just go out a bit and let's go to end image. Sorry, go that again. Let's just put that down and let's do this. See what actually happens here, because actually, as you can see here, it's actually right into the screen. So we need to actually find a way to make it execute the HTML. So let's go here and let's change it to h1. And let's go foobar /h1 and see if that. Oh, that's wrong. That should write to the page, hopefully. Bar, and maybe we need content. Okay, as you can see here, it's writing, but it's undefined. So it's writing to the screen, but it's just undefined. So let's try to find out what we need to do with this. It's writing to the screen here. That's really good. It's creating a div tag. It's obviously div is undefined, so it just won't actually write to it. It's undefined. So I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna get another coffee, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, I'm back. So I've realized that one's a little bit tricky for me. I'm still not the best at doing XSS, but what I'm going to do is go over a few tools that we can use. So we've obviously gone over XSS Hunter, and we've also got Burp. So we're going to use Burp for a bit, and we're going to do some basic reflected XSS and stored XSS, and where we can find stored XSS. Let's load up Burp. And one thing I like to do in bug bounty programs is I always like to test out file upload. So let's just load up Burp here. And I'm going to show you what I usually do when I find stored XSS. Now, I actually did a bug bounty program about a few months ago, and I was testing out a file upload feature. I usually always test out file upload features first because usually the file upload features are very vulnerable and we can find stored XSS on content delivery networks or whatever. So let's go to this page here, which is the normal XSS challenge right here. Now let's just pretend we don't know what the value is that's vulnerable. So if we just I'm going to show you a little bit about Burp too. So if we go to proxy, that's going to be our interception proxy where we capture all the traffic. Let's go to scope and let's check out, let's put in our scope this app spot here. And then what we can do here now is we can paste that in and we can make it so it only shows in scope items and it only intercepts in scope items, and we only want to intercept parameters. So we make that end and we change we only intercept parameters with requests. And there's a good program called Central, so that will help us detect XSS. So let's just put a random value in here. Let's go like say q equals 1. And what we can do now is we can then capture this request and send that to Central. Forward that off. And what Central will do is it will check for XSS, but we also want to check for reflection. So if we have a look at reflections, if we just like put that in again, we should say that it got reflected. But another thing we can do is we can type in foobar and we can check for any reflections. Let's capture that request, let's send it to the repeater, Control R and Control Shift R to go to the repeater, and let's check for foobar. So obviously there's a foobar, there's a reflection there, so that's good. Obviously I don't know why that hasn't come up, but it should usually do it. Now let's check the reflection and go send go. Now what will happen is it will check for cross-site scripted vulnerability. It's a very good program. Very good program. And obviously it's found XSS because there's reflection and it's breaking out of the div tag. It's broken out of the tag. So therefore what we can do is we can send that to the repeater, Control Shift R, and we can do a simple XSS payload with alert, or we can just do prompt. Prompt is another good one. We don't always have to do prompt. We don't have to always do alert. And let's do document. Thanks for the follow, Scotty. Domain. And then script. And let's send that off. And as you can see here, it's broken out. And let's just show this in a response in the browser. And as you can see here, it will come up with a prompt. And hey, boom, we've got XSS. But from here onwards, we want to do an iframe. We want to prove that we've actually, we want to come up with a proof of concept. So it's good to play around with AppSpot. It's a really good website to test out your vulnerabilities. You've got your XSS vulnerabilities, reading JavaScript. There's also a DOM one as well. Allow no origin. So this is a really good one. Let's try this one out. Let's go to inspect element. As you can see, Firefox has DevTools too, but it's not as good. Honestly, like Chrome DevTools better. So let's just reload this page. Now, way to detect cause is to go into the page, intercept the request. Obviously, you need to put all this in scope. Paste that. We want to capture this request here, and this is like a null origin. So why isn't it capturing request? Let's just get rid of that because there's actually no parameters. That's why. So one thing with manual testing is the best. Like manual testing is the best way to find vulnerabilities. And as you can see, we send this to a repeater, play around with it, and we want to send this off to the server first. And as you can see, there is an XHR request here, and it's opening up XHR request. It's posting to this this here, and we want to just go origin, test out, see if we can actually change this. So origin, and we want to just go null. And what you'll find is, where is it? Allow access control, allow origin null. Wait a minute. Forward that off. You might actually have the wrong one. We need to do the wrong one. We want to do this is the one we want. So this is the one we want. So let's load this. Sorry, we had the wrong one. We wanted to do a different one. Paste that in intercept because we want it to make it so we can actually go allow origin. So if we send it off to the repeater, forward it off, and as you can see, it still not hasn't got it. I should say allow origin. Dynamic allow origin. Let's go origin yahoo.com and send that off. Well, it's doing an XHR request to that. Cause allow origin, dynamic allow origin, and it should say here. It says here that test verifying the soundness of access control allow origin. So obviously, access control allow origin is equivalent to allowing every origin. But for some reason, it's not coming up with the allow origin. For some reason, I think it might just be here you go. So it says it here, and it says null. But for some reason, it's not doing it in burp. So what we want to do, since we know we can do this to anything, let's come up with a cross origin. Let's actually try and this one here is which one? This is the this is actually core. So what we can do now is we can actually come up with a proof of concept. So with this, we can then go into. I've got a proof of concept you can have a look at too, which is on my desktop, and this is cores. So let's load this up in Notepad++. Now what we want to do is we want to this is the core script here. A really good useful script to actually, and there's a lot of ones out there. And let's just paste in this endpoint here. Let's save that. And what should happen is it should pop up an alert box with the response text. So let's just load this into the browser, into Firefox. What you'll see here is I'll come out with the proof of concept exploit. And it says that layer origin missing. Let's do this one, is the one we want. So let's just do this. And let's load this up in Firefox. Exploit. It was blocked. Okay, it was blocked. Sometimes you get it blocked, and we can bypass this. But I'm just trying to figure out allow the now origin to access control items. Insecurity to me. Okay. Wildcard. Dynamic. Allow origin true. If we actually change this to HTTPS, let's just actually grab this and Http request again. And it should say, that's why we need this one. There's two requests, so let's go evo.com now. Now what should happen is it gets reflected right here. So this is actually the URL we want indeed. So let's just copy that, paste that in, and it's going to be a post request. Let's save that. Now let's execute this in JavaScript, and it should say we've got it. Should pop up with got it, hopefully. Yeah, you did it, awesome. So just by finding out what we have control of. So if you type in origin evo.com, and if it gets reflected in the access control at origin, it means it's vulnerable to cause. Now with cause, it could be like but we're bypassing the same origin policy here. So with this, if we find any sensitive data, like in a user info page, and there's some passwords or emails, we can use this to actually retrieve that unauthenticated. It's really useful. I've been going over for an hour and 16 minutes. I'm going to head off in a minute. Might do a live stream. Well, tomorrow I'm going out with a friend, but I might do a live stream Wednesday maybe. But yeah, just if you've watched this, I've been through a lot of struggles with one of the access challenges. There are shit tons I need to cover. We've talked about how to read JavaScript code. what XHR is, what JavaScript is. Again, with JavaScript, if we read through all, like, you know, say PayPal, we can do these regular expressions to find interesting, like, you know, API keys and things like that. There's, like I said in Burp, you can actually go to here and you can actually export, go to engagement tools, export our JavaScript, find scripts and export them all out, dynamic, and then export, and then just check, copy or whatever. But again, if the JavaScript is in line with the page, then it's a little hard to read. You have to prettify it, minify it, and there is a good plugin called JS. Where is it? I'll just find it for you. JS Beautify or JSON JS Beautify. But that's really tricky because you have to copy it all, and it's really tricky. So there's a lot of pros and cons with DevTools. Most underrated tool. We've talked about post messages, how to find them, and we've talked about some cores and how to find those. We've talked about proof of concepts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you liked this video. I'll be doing more coming up. And yeah, enjoy your rest of your day and afternoon. Awesome, bros. Have a good one. Cheers.